I see here, Dr. Smith should be coming right on, I think.
Okay.
Microphone is muted. Why is this? Okay, participant 3, I don't see his photo yet. Oh, he's joining.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. View waiting room. Admit all. Admit all. Admit all. Let's see here. Dr. Smith, your microphone's muted for right now. Let's see here. Let's pause.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to get on the computer, and it's doing. No, I'm trying to get on the computer, and it's doing all these weird things. I'm like, you know what? I just quit. These computers nowadays.
We see you.
You can't do it.
Yeah, we see you, Dr.
All right,
Smith.
I'm just gonna say.
You look good.
I'm just gonna stay on the phone then for a little bit. That's all right instead?
Yeah, you're coming in perfect.
Okay.
He really is perfect.
Yeah, I see you got your hair cut since last time I saw you.
Well, you know, what can I say?
Yeah, looking sharp. Looking sharp.
I do my own hair.
Okay. Well,
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
That's impressive. Dr. Smith, thank you so much for coming back on today. My mom is actually going to be using her headshot today.
I was going to say, where's Mama Rush?
Yeah, Mama Rush is right here, Dr. Smith. I just decided to use, I washed my hair, so I decided to use my face shot for right now. Okay.
Keep it real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Dr. Smith, welcome back. Since we were last here, we've actually been completely doing phenomenal. We hit, as of yesterday, we hit 3,485,746 people that are tuning in and listening to our show in 7 countries in 15 days.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, that's not double counting or nothing like that?
What's that?
That's not double counting or anything like that?
Oh, no. That's actually a direct count because your boy is able to reach the people.
I see.
And Brand, that's based on the matrix.
Yes, ma'am. That's actually based on the actual computer. So I'm able to, it always gives you updates on everything that's going on. So I'm able to see what people are looking where in the country. So we have 56% of people in the United States on Instagram, for instance, are tuning into the show, as well as India, as well as Canada, as well as England. And then on top of that, I'm able to see the age group. So we have the ages 13 all the way to 54. We have that completely unlocked. And I'm able to see that right now, men are beating out the women just by a little bit, percentage wise. And then I'm able to see all the downloads on Spotify as well in the podcast station. Wow. So we are moving and grooving, man. Like, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
I see.
Dr. Smith, it was so great having you on the last time. And I really wanted to go back and let's visit some areas of interest. One happens to be obesity and diets and cardiovascular mixed in with that. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I hope I didn't talk too much or.
No.
You're fine. You're perfect. You're giving knowledge. And half this nurse, even though you're not a nurse, it's Nurses Week this week. So International Nurse Week.
Yeah. I had to say happy nurse to a lot of our people right there. Yeah. So, you know, I'm glad they're getting prompts, but it's just so funny because I told some of them I'm coming up and talking to you. And they were like, how come we're not talking? So I guess at some point you're gonna have to bring on some more nurses, man.
Hey, I asked you, you're more than welcome to please pass my number to them. We've actually had on a nurse today and we've had on 3 nurses so far, but we love nurses here and we would love to have on as many as want to come on. So please let them know. You can please pass them my number and my email and then I'm be more than happy to have them.
Okay. Remember what you asked for, the ones that asked me about this. So
I am. It's about you. You have to keep your word now, Mr. Smith. They heard it here too. They tune in.
Dr. Smith.
Done deal. All right. Cool.
Absolutely. But Mom, go ahead. Your question.
Okay, we were talking about obesity and have a concern with that because the nurse we had on earlier today, and she's a gastroenterology specialty nurse. And she was talking about diets, and that is truly playing a major part with children. She's finding out because children are, I guess, presenting themselves with polyps in her hospitals. And she's I guess it's level 1 trauma hospital or whatever that is. But with that said, I know how well you have discussed with us, and I know the importance of diet when you're talking about the heart as well. So can you enlighten us a little bit about what you see and what you think diets will do to hinder or enhance life?
Wow, we could talk for weeks on that, right?
Luckily, we have time, Dr. Smith.
Careful what you wish for, man. That's more than two there, Brandon. That's
Oh,
careful what you wish for. First, the nurses.
absolutely.
Number two, getting me to talk for a while, bruh.
Yeah, it's all good.
So it's pretty interesting that you say this, because I literally was, for the past week and a half, I've been talking to a lot of people about high blood pressure, hypertension, and people are like, "Well, why do you get it? You just get it when you get older and stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? You can actually tailor it down. It's not just getting older. I mean, we're more sedentary. It's a whole different world nowadays. Back in my day, way back when I was your age, Brandon, we used to actually walk to the mailbox to drop something, or go upstairs instead of like only going to stores with elevators and escalators. We would actually have to walk. We would go outside and play until it's dark, and mother sends out somebody to come after you. I mean, we would do things. You get older and that changes. Your muscles change. Everything changes. Our diets are different. We start eating like things that are full of salt. And have you guys ever eaten something salty, and then you notice like right after you just like want to drink, and if you don't drink water, you're still thirsty and you keep drinking and drinking. But if you do drink water, it goes away. Well, that all gets to where we're going. It's the salt content and all the junk we do. We're not sweating out the salt. We're not moving and being active and such, but we're taking in salt. And it's pretty interesting because the way a lot of the American diet is now, so you're not gonna get this if you go to Jamaica, for example. A lot of the fast food here, like just the different chemical structures and stuff, they're designed really to keep you addicted, right? The salt content, the sugar, the balance, it keeps you kind of addicted. My daughter was just talking to me earlier today. She was like, "I don't know why I'm always hungry. I'm eating all these apples and stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, apples have fiber, but she's eating apples, then she'll get a sandwich and then something." I'm like, the carbohydrate, relative carbohydrate in there is designed to keep you hungry and going back for more. So that said, I mean, diet explains a whole lot. Cardiac disease. I like giving talks about cardiac disease. I like giving talks about coronary artery disease, strokes, all these things that clog up your arteries and stuff. But and I've shown multiple times this is related to diet. But some people actually say that, diet can reverse almost at least 50%, if not more, of coronary disease. And it's a lot because of what we're eating in this Western diet. It's definitely a lot with this fast food. And I don't want to blame it on the cliche stuff like fast food, because a lot of it is our lifestyle as well. A lot of coronary disease. And I'm gonna stop talking so much so we can get more of a dialogue discussion. But one of the things that I do, because like I say, I like going around and giving a lot of talks, is a whole concept that we're exploding called social determinants of health, SDH. And that's actually, are you guys familiar with that?
No, sir.
No, I'm not. That's the first time I've heard that term.
Go ahead and
SCH. Okay.
I've been special then. Good. So hopefully a lot more people will catch on to it. It's kind of like a buzz term going on now in medicine, especially in cardiology, in that the social determinants of health, the social things that determine your health, are well beyond just medicines and getting up and going to sleep and exercise and get up and I exercise and I eat right. Some of the other things that determine your health are where you're from. Do you live in the hood? I mean, I'm just gonna say, quite honestly, that's where I'm from. Do you live in the hood? Do you live in affluent areas? Can you walk down the street and go to like Mama Ricotta's restaurant, or when you walk down the street, is there a Burger King right across the street from McDonald's with Wendy's down there and then Taco Bell? I mean, because that's typically the way they roll, right? The people combine. And then when you go there and you get, your food, are you going into a restaurant and you're getting like filet mignon and that kind of stuff? Or are you going in and you're getting Big Mac, filet fish, quarter pounder French fries, ice cold milkshakes, sundaes, and apple pies? That just tells you how old I am. I can repeat that commercial. But if you get that, the amount of salt you're going to take, like probably in just one meal, is more than anyone should take probably in 2 days. So the social determinants of health dictate or kind of highlight where you're from, what kind of access to care you have, what kind of access to food you have. Quite honestly, are you going to see the doctor and get the same kind of health care? Meaning a lot of people from certain communities can't say take the day off and go see their doctor, right?
I
Can't
see.
lose the money from work and pay for pills when they need that money to pay for their light bill or something. You know what I mean? So there are a lot of other things that factor into health, but diet being a big part of the social determinants of health, diet being a big part of heart disease has always been a target for us. Final part I'll say about that is for high blood pressure in particular, there have been a lot of studies that have shown changing the diet, making little tweaks can drop your blood pressure dramatically. And I'm not the kind of doctor like throwing a lot of medicine on people. So look this up, DASH diet, DASH, DASH. I think it was called a dietary. What's that?
I'm writing it down.
You said DASH diet.
This should be posted in places. Yeah, especially certain communities. It should be posted on some. It's like DASH is the Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension, right? This is a real diet. I mean, yeah, it's even made up by us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Doc, could you go?
I'm taking notes, doctor.
Yes, ma'am. And then Dr. Smith, would you mind kind of, you said the abbreviation of that. Would you mind touching on that a little bit if you wouldn't mind, actually?
Or, yeah, no, that's good because I'm pulling it up right now as we talk.
Okay.
You know, I happen to be on my computer. I just can't talk on it for whatever reason. That's what happened last time. I know some technological stuff, right?
Maybe you weren't on the Wi-Fi or something, but it was working clearly today. No problems. And then that app wasn't good either. The other app I was using wasn't good.
Probably. Also, the interesting part is, like they say all the time, like, docs, we can do this, we can do that, but we can't get the technology right. I don't understand this, but you know, whatever. I'm getting there. I'll be there, bro. I'll be there.
Yeah, you're doing a good job. I'm grateful for you, Dr. Smith.
All right. Well, so here's the thing: the DASH eating, right? It's really based on the Mediterranean type of diet. And what they mean by that is, you know, they don't really focus so much on fast food, things that I can pretty much go in the lab, put together, and come up with the right recipe and taste test and throw some extra salt on it. You know, it's actually more of what they eat over there, which is not so red meat based. And I hate saying this because some people think, oh, I stopped eating red meat and I'm gonna be good. No, it's not necessarily the red meat. It's the combination of things. It's the overindulgence in America. When I was growing up, plates were like this big. By the time I got to med school, they were this big, right? And I explain it in a certain way and it makes people sick. So I'm going to try and tone that down. I'm trying to find the right words to tone it down. So
it's all good. No worries at all. All right. We've been keeping it real on this podcast, so you're good.
I don't want to get you kicked off, man. I've done that to YouTube before. I'll let you know. When we started talking about COVID and I started explaining the math and how things didn't match up, we got kicked off of YouTube. So I don't want to get you kicked off.
All right. Well, that sounds good, Doc.
So, all right. Well, so here's the thing. It's less red meat based, but a lot of that is because the red meat over here often has a lot of nitrites in it, chemical preservatives, and, they eat a lot of fat in there and those kind of things. And it's not the meat itself as much as it's, our bodies don't really know what to do with it. I tell people all the time, we're not really carnivores, man. We just act like it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you have somebody smile, see, Mama Rush, I'd have you smile, but you're just showing your picture today.
Yeah, well, that's quite all right, because what you're imparting today is so important for young people to know, especially with the demographics that we are dealing with. And when it comes to health, any information you can impart is always important. I'm just looking at my little grandson. I have a little grandson, and he's a latchkey kid in the afternoons sometimes, or in the evenings, and want him to be a healthier eater. Yeah. And by you telling different age groups what they can do now, and he's 11, what he can do now, he'll try to take it up. He'll probably go, instead of getting a bag of chips, buy an apple or a banana, a piece of fruit. And so that's why this is so important. So I wanted you to talk about it as much as you can. Coronary heart disease is just terrible. It's a terrible type to be in. And so therefore, I'm not smiling as much as I'm talking with you, because it impacts my family, my grandson, and I'm just trying to find a better way for him. And he doesn't get out and run as much as he used to. He doesn't live here in South Carolina. He lives in Virginia. And so he looks at the podcast because he's a part of the podcast. So for him to hear a doctor try to give him warnings, any child at this point, any adult at this point, you said this is something that can be reversed or something that can be improved or educated on. So therefore, I want you to continue to talk. Oh, with that said, have you finished? I wanted to ask one other question. How do you think the new medications play a part as far as weight loss?
Oh, yeah.
And will that curtail maybe what we will see in the future with diabetics if they're able to get on medication earlier, the new types of medication? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Wow. Did you know it's like every line of what you said is a whole different lecture in med school?
I can only imagine. Yeah.
How'd you do that?
Well, that's okay.
Mama Rush is smart.
We can put that in the medical corner. We have you are the medical corner. And so what I look at is questions that have come across. And you remember I don't know if you recall last time I stated that we would come across questions, and those questions, I'll try to bring them up just in case someone said, well, Mrs. Smith, Mama Rush, you didn't get in my question. So that's why I hit on subjects like that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, then I will be more succinct to the answers then. Because as you say, I could talk forever. I'm not going to, though. But here's the thing. So going back to the first part about your, the diet. Well, just to wrap up that red meat thing. Again, it's not the red meat. And I was saying that we're not carnivores. We're not even close. How old is your grandson that you were talking about?
11. He's 11 years of age.
Has he ever smiled?
He does smile a lot.
He smiles a lot.
Yeah.
But
look at Brandon.
He's gotten more serious.
Oh yeah, but he used to smile. He does smile. He smiles at me and all. We were playing video games and laughing and stuff. We crack up a lot, so he does smile a lot.
Crazy question, but where I was going with that was even if you see Brandon smile, we have these rounded teeth like that. We don't really have like the fangs, like the canine, like cats and dogs. See, those teeth are there because they're designed to rip in your flesh and rip it off the body, off of your carcass and stuff like that. We don't have that. So what makes you think we're carnivores? We have that grinding stuff designed for us to have a lot of veggies, right? Just right, and we're dogging it. So if you went to the Mediterranean diet, which is really more of a philosophy than a diet, they switch a lot of things for grains instead of like the white processed white, potatoes, pasta, sweets, and stuff like that. And then veggies are a significant portion. So where I was going with the plates, you can have those plates. Like again, when I was growing up, let me shut my phone off. When I was growing up, the plates had a lot of other things on there. And if you go to certain Chinese cultures, they have a lot of things on there, rice, et cetera, and then a little bit of meat for flavor. As I got older, the whole plate is full of a big slab of flesh. Meat. And and then you have to, it's so big, you got to get some small size on there. I'm like, duh. So anyway, have you noticed hypertension and all those things grow with that, right? So if you went to the DASH diet, it's somewhat Mediterranean. It's based on grain, fruits, vegetables, lower levels of red meat, almost no fats, almost no sweets, and, a lot more birds. You can do the birds, turkey and chicken, and the fish. I hate fish. I don't eat fish. I can't stand fish, but they're really good unless it's like Subway tuna. That's really good to me. But other than that, I don't really do fish. But what that does is if you can lower your cholesterol, fish fat, for example, the omega-3 fatty acids actually lower human fat. And if you have a big clogged artery over the years of doing this, you start eating those things, the grain, the antioxidants, the fiber, the fish fat, our fat in our artery starts regressing.
Ooh.
And again, it takes forever. It took you forever to get there. It takes forever to come back. But that happens, and that's where we were going to before Mama Rush about reversing a lot of the coronary disease. Importantly, and at the same time, you're eating a less salt diet, a more nutrient-packed diet to support the muscles. So you start walking, arteries are open, more blood is getting there, the muscles themselves are getting more nourished, less salt. And like I was talking about with salt and drinking all this water, salt is in your blood vessels, water's going to get there, and there's a whole bunch of fluid. It's hard for your heart to pump that, and then you go into heart failure. Well, if you have the less salt diet, you don't have that, right? So your heart's working better, your muscles are working better, your arteries can function, and then people just automatically lose weight. You don't have to get dressed up in these skin tight clothes and spend forever, dude. You just have to change your lifestyle and diet. And then the last part about it, I'll say is yes, we can actually correlate with however much salt you drop, how much weight you drop. We can dictate how much lower your blood pressure is going to get outside of medicines.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Doctor, I'd never use salt with anything. I've never been a salt guy. I'd never use salt with anything. So it's interesting that you say, I find everything you're saying is very interesting, but like, I've never used salt, but I can tell the difference between when I have salt in my system and when I don't.
Yep. What do you feel?
I feel better when I don't have the salt in my system, which is why I literally, I never, ever cook with salt, ever. And so on one end, whenever I don't have the salt in my system, I am the epitome of like, I know you haven't met me in person, but I'm probably one of the most in shape people that most people consider. But whenever it comes to me eating that other stuff, the processed stuff, and the stuff with the salt, and I gain weight and I start blowing up like a balloon, which isn't because my body's not used to having that. And when I have more carbs, my body's not used to that because I don't eat many carbs. When I'm out west, I don't eat many carbs and I don't have any salt. But when I'm back east, I consume that stuff and I notice a huge difference in my weight and all that kind of stuff. It's dramatic.
You're saying you're fit. How much do you exercise?
I work out 6 to 7 days a week.
Yeah,
how many minutes?
He worked out this morning.
How many minutes per session? Like how many minutes and what do you do?
I work out for about 2 hours, and I have really good genetics. I will say that. Like I've always was a kid that was in shape, but I was obese forever because I ate all the crap that I was always eating crap food as a kid. I was epitome of being like I was in shape when I was a kid, just born naturally in shape. Then I started eating like crap for years, but then when I started playing football my freshman year, I went into stupid shape, into what my natural body will look like when I am doing all the right things. So I work out for about 2 hours each. I work out for 2 hours. I do cardio. I do about 30 to 40 minutes of cardio, and then the rest is just light weightlifting. Now I don't do heavy anymore because I'm not playing football, but naturally I'm already an extremely muscular guy without having to do much with that. I just basically do stuff to maintain at this point to look good on TV.
Sure. I hate guys like you.
Yeah. Well, we all have different things, but I also wanted to ask you this question too, Doc, because of something you said in relating to, I guess, with the heart. I had a friend of mine whose dad passed away. I don't know how many miles he'd run a day. He probably ran like 10, 15 miles a day, was always super skinny, thin as thing could be, was always running. And he died. I mean, it might have been 20 years ago. And I'm sorry that she lost her dad, but everybody in our whole entire neighborhood used to always see this man running because he was always up 6 o'clock in the morning, running everywhere. And I think he died while running.
Yeah, he dropped dead on the street.
Yeah. And so it's wild as I said, he didn't have you couldn't even pinch his skin and there be like any like fat or anything. So for a man to run every single day of his life, I don't remember a day he wasn't running. He died doing that same thing.
I wonder if it's genetic.
Yeah, maybe it was genetic. Yeah. But I think it was a heart attack that he had, I think.
Yeah.
Do you know if other people in his family, has that ever happened? I haven't. Did something just suddenly collapsed? Whether it's running or anything else.
That's I haven't, she was a friend from high school, so I haven't spoken to her actually since high school, but she was a close friend in high school. And I remember, when I was in college is when he passed away. But that would be a good question to see if it was something that might be in the family. Because I said, this man I don't think anyone could run more than that guy could, because he was running every day.
Those are the ones I would love to see, So here's the thing. When we always talk about coronary disease and heart attacks, we always think about, really big, greasy. And I know you said you're obese as a kid. You probably weren't as fat as I was as a kid. Like the clothes I wear now could not fit me in third grade. That's great. So yeah, it's crazy. But the thing is, when people think they die of, or people hear of people dying of a heart attack doesn't necessarily mean the typical arteries close. Oh my gosh, you got to get in and do surgery, stents and all that. That's the sexy standard one that everybody thinks of. But heart attack can also just be your heart stopping. From what you're explaining, this is called sudden cardiac arrest or sudden cardiac death, which can happen from a lot of other reasons. He could have gone to a heart arrhythmia that could have done it. Something internally. He could even had an aneurysm somewhere that someone didn't know that could have just ruptured.
Okay.
Some people are born with the electricity that goes through the heart. Like, so really, real life, you can grab and reach out a heart and the heart will still be beating, right? Because the heart actually has all these electrical circuits that are internal. Well, sometimes those circuits are slow in some areas, faster in others. We call them channelopathies. But, there are certain ones where people can be running And if they have a skipped heartbeat just at the right time, it can send them into another rhythm called ventricular tachycardia and then ventricular fibrillation. They'll just collapse.
Holy smokes.
There are people who can go in rhythms like that just by hearing, a certain tone. Some people do it by swimming and on and on. We can go through a lot. There are a lot of different ways that that could have happened. One additional way is that even though you're thin, there are things called, there are different types of cholesterols in it. The type of cholesterol that in America we don't check standard. Like in Europe, certain places in Europe, this is just a standard test. It's called LP little a. I am giving these tests out free in my office. I have over 1,000 of these tests. I'm also giving out a $45 gift card for anybody who does it. And I still can't get rid of them. I've had them there for like 2 months. I'm like, think about it, 1,000 tests times 45. I'm trying to give away $45,000 in a free test that you can't get in America that tests for cardiovascular screening. And, one of the things that they find there is 20% of the time, it's not your regular cholesterol, but there's another cholesterol called LP little a. Big thing. It's out there now. You probably heard of it, huh?
Oh no, I'm saying okay.
No?
I'm listening. I'm all ears right now.
Yeah, we're listening at this point.
Yeah.
It's interestingly, it's an apolipoprotein, big scientific word, but all that meant is the way that the cholesterol is on top of it, it has a different type of protein on top. And because of that together, when it's in your body, it's genetic. Your body doesn't know how to break it down, and there's no medicine that can help it if it's genetic, right?
Oh.
And so 20% of the time people have it. It is associated with people dying earlier. Some cultures more so, it happens quicker. It's actually even associated with people whose heart valves can kind of get tight. An aortic valve is what we call it, aortic stenosis, to be all nerdy about it, but their valve can get tight, and that too can lead to sudden cardiac arrest. So 20% of the time across the world, and even higher in Black patients, you can see a high or elevated LPA. That said, we can probably go through the medical books and come up with another 10 reasons why this young, fit runner could have just suddenly collapsed, unfortunately, and just died on the spot.
Doctor, how in the world did you isolate that particular LPA?
It's great. Where do you get these questions from? That's good. So, yeah, well, there has to be a specialized test. To your point, yes. It has to be a blood test. We draw it down, and then in the laboratory, we spin down the lab. We take your blood and spin it down, and it separates how much are proteins, and then water, and then fat, and then you can suck out the fat, put it through another computer that would separate them and say, hey, listen, these fats are in this category. These fats are in those. And then when you get these other ones, they're called LDL. Think of L for lousy. These are the LDL's the bad one that clogs up your arteries. Really stands for low density lipoprotein. But think of the LDL. We actually can mathematically figure that LDL part out. But then there's another component on top. And yes, we can do the same kind of fractionation, same kind of scientific experiments and nerdy things you see on TV, and figure out that some of them have this protein on them that we call the ApoB or ApoA moiety. It's just a little protein. And then that's it. We know if you have those, everybody should have a little bit of it. That's fine.
Okay.
Once you get over, say, 50 of these, like nanograms, actually, if you will, in a deciliter, but once you get over a certain concentration, your risk starts going up almost linearly. Like once you get to 50, it's like, oh, you're at a higher risk of heart attack, stroke, and all the rest of these. And again, you could be as skinny as you want to be. This is genetic, has nothing to do with what you're eating. You can't stop it at all. You get 50, then you get to like 100, and whoa, your chances of death keeps going up. And oh, wow, we have people, once they get to like 150, we're like, whoa, what is going on? I'm anticipating you coming up with a problem at that point. And finally, these guys usually have their problems well before the age of 55.
Wow.
Man.
So your HDL, if you have a great HDL, can it outweigh all of that other stuff that's going on with LDL?
Why do you know this stuff? This is so funny. No,
Well, Mom
so
worked in pharmaceuticals. Mom's smart. She worked in pharmaceuticals. She studied this stuff from the time I go to bed until the
medications. But that's why I just want to hear. I hadn't sold them in a while, but I just want to know some stuff.
Doctor, from the time I would go to sleep at nighttime when I was in high school, my mom was up from she'd be up from 8 p.m. all the way to 9 a.m. the next morning when I was heading to school studying this stuff. So that woman's a genius in there and worked really hard. And that company was lucky to have her too. But yeah,
Mama Ref, do you teach? Do you teach, Mama Ref? Like, do you go and do like community events or talk in church or anything?
No, I don't. What I did do is I used to teach nurses, not in the hospitals. But when I would do lunch and learn programs, which you're very familiar with, at that
Yeah.
point, I would get a chance to really talk medicine. And it's according to what kind of medicine I was selling. If I was selling cardiovascular medications, of course, I had to study because I didn't go on to be a doctor. I always wanted to sell medicine. So when you are talking about cardiovascular medications and the heart and coronary artery disease and all of that, it brings back those memories. And it brings back what I studied and what I would work on, because when you are working with doctors, the smartest of the class, doctors, you want to be ahead of the game. You want to know what you're talking about. You want to ask concrete questions, just not any type of question. So the reason I ask about the HDL, because I have a great HDL level. And so I always thought, can that beat the rest of the ugly stuff that's out there? And then, so that's why I wanted to ask you that question. No.
This is so funny. So I can only see your picture now, but Brandon, right? You can hear her smiling when she's talking. It sounds like you get really happy. Like you're an educator there, Mama Rush. We should probably take our show on the road. We should go out to some churches, some events.
It is on the road. Doctor, it is on the road. This conversation
we are now.
we're having, we are on the road in different countries, and this is the best show of all.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's on every road then. You're right. Yeah. Goodness. Yeah, well, we should go. We should go to some organizations and talk. You know what? We should bring in some Greek-lettered organizations, especially the most important one, Alpha, right?
Okay.
The thing is, so we used to think that a lot about HDL, H standing for the high density. Remember, LDL was low density, HDL is high density lipoprotein.
Correct.
And we just think, hey, yeah, if you're lipoprotein, lipo meaning fat, protein is kind of the protein part which allows the fat to travel in. Let's go back, because you remember, I'm pretty sure at some point everybody's seen oil and water. We know they don't mix.
Yeah, that's correct.
Fat is oil. Right? Cholesterol is just the fat broke down in its oil, but the oil won't mix in your blood, which is water, unless something is connecting it. And it has to have some protein around it to make that mix happen. But as you can imagine, that greasy, oily fat in your blood, if it's low density, it can it's like on the outskirts of your blood and just kind of bathing the inner lining of your artery. And that's what causes all this cholesterol stuff. So that low density is what caused a lot of this inflammation. So the higher density, the HDL that you're talking about, was less connected to the outer wall. And so we said, well, hey, if you have that sucks things away from the wall and you're going to do better and you live longer. And the earlier studies suggested that, hey, all we have to do is drink a little bit of alcohol, do some exercises, and we can get an HDL higher and do better. But listen to what I was saying. You're doing more exercises and stuff, and that would raise your HDL.
Okay.
So the question is, well, is it the HDL going higher that saves people, or is it that this is a different lifestyle? They'll exercise. The alcohol is not an excessive amount, just a little bit amount. And maybe the HDL is just a reflection of that kind of person. Right?
Okay.
And if that person is more healthy, then is it the HDL that's protecting you, or is it that you're a more healthy person than the other one? And maybe that's protect. Even more importantly, so they did a study. It was called the AIM High study.
Okay.
AIM High, HIGH. Well, what they were doing there is they were just looking at HDL, specifically just HDL, and does it actually save your life? And they didn't find anything. It was a negative study. In that study, it suggests HDL is not really helping you.
I got you.
Doesn't mean it's hurting you, though.
Yeah.
But so should we? It just meant like our focus should change. When we don't focus on raise the HDL, nor do we look at your HDL is high, so your LDL doesn't matter. That's not true either. So just put HDL in perspective for us.
Oh, okay, great. That makes sense now. Okay, now one final question on my part. I want to know about those new medications that that people are taking to lose weight, and they're losing like 40 pounds, whatever. But do you think that with them losing that kind of weight, will it improve maybe the case of type 2 diabetes?
Yep. Answer your question. Yes, it will.
Oh, wow.
But it does so from the medication itself. If you were to extrapolate that question to whether I think people should take it for weight loss to improve everything, the answer there would be no, I don't think so. Personal opinion. So, just to kind of give an overview of those medications, the typical ones that you're talking about are called GLP-1 agonists, glucagon-like protein 1, which is a receptor agonist, so it just aggravates that one receptor. All of these drugs were designed to treat diabetes. Well, we all know that people with diabetes don't die of diabetes. You die of cardiovascular disease.
Cardiovascular
So,
disease.
right? So you cannot
That's
do a
right.
diabetic study and not include cardiovascular medicine as part of your study, right? And so what they found is, yeah, okay, we're given this medication, the medication you're talking about, as the GLP-1 agonists, they're always the ones that end with ipotide, right? So glipotide, sadaglipizide, whatever, any of those ipotide, right? So the thing is, when you took it, the way the medicine works is it works at the kidney.
Okay.
It tells the body always, you always filter out extra sugar that you plan on peeing out. But the problem is at the kidney level, your kidney knows what you need for your body and it sucks back up what it needs, right?
Okay.
Well, this medication, when it goes to the kidney, it blocks that uptake of sugar. So you still have enough sugar in your body. It's just the stuff that you were going to filter anyway. You're not going to suck it back up. And so that's why you don't really drop your blood sugar too low. You don't get hypoglycemic like you will with insulin and with the other class drugs, sulfonylureas, but you're not going to get hypoglycemic with these. So that's why it's relatively safe. And you're peeing out a lot of sugar water. So a bunch of things. If I'm peeing out the sugar, well, then my body has to make energy back. And so I can lose weight that way, number one. I'm peeing out sugar with water going in it, so I'm losing a lot of water weight, number two. Number three is it works in your gut. So also the same protein in your gut. So your gut doesn't move as fast as it would without the medicine. So when you eat, you feel full a lot longer because it's not moving out as well. And then number four, it actually does work on certain centers in the front of your brain. So in the same centers that get you addicted. So I was talking about addicted to food. Like I used to be addicted to Taco Bell. Those same addiction centers. I'm telling too much, huh, Brandon?
No, Taco Bell's good, man. I like Taco Bell too.
It's great. This is real.
Yeah, we want real. That's what we need. Taco Bell's, I mean, it tastes good to me. I love it.
Yo quiero Taco Bell, the chicken chalupa, man. That's what all right, no, cardiologist, who he said, all right, we're going to act like y'all going to have to edit that part out. But those same addiction centers, well, the GLP-1 working there cuts down a lot of the addiction. As a matter of fact, some people were looking at that same drug, the weight loss drug, all these drugs we're talking about, to use it for certain types of substance abuse. I know some anesthesiologists talking about, hey, cocaine or heroin addiction, any of those kind of things, can we use the same drugs? And that's on the horizon. If it works out, you hear about it probably in the next 6-12 months.
Holy smokes.
Medicine, we know, comes way ahead in advance. So those are reasons why, yes, you're not going to eat much. When you do, you're going to feel full. It's going to stay in your stomach. When you do pee, you're going to pee out a lot of the sugar rather than taking it back up, which is the diabetes part. And then, yeah, you're going to lose a lot of water weight with it too. Add all those things together, 2 levels. On one, they found that people lived longer by doing that. They were less likely to go in the hospital. People who had heart failure were less likely to go in for heart failure. Strokes were cut down. They said, well, that was all found in cardiovascular disease. And by the way, these people are losing weight, up to 14% of their weight a year. Oh my gosh, this has to be great. And so the company said, hey, why don't we just package it up? And we say it's a diabetic medicine that makes you lose weight. And then FDA said, no, you kind of can't do that. It's a diabetic medicine. We're not mixing the two, right? This is not cosmetic. So FDA said, look, use your medicine part. And okay, we use it for medicine. We'll call it Ozempic. But you also lose weight with it. So we'll come out with another drug, the same drug, just higher doses, same company, and we'll call it Wegovy. So it's the same drug. Wow. And they do the same thing, of course, right? Now, the why I say we shouldn't, for diabetes, yeah, perfect. You're not going to lose your sugar. You're not going to go hypoglycemic and pass out, and it works great. We can regulate it. We know what we're doing, Ozempic, semaglutide, those kind of drugs, they work well. But should we use it cosmetically to get us back on track away from diabetes and into health and stuff? I personally don't think so, unless you have morbid obesity, right? Because there are different classes. There's like overweight, there's mild obesity, there's obesity, and then there's morbid. If you have morbid obesity, yeah, I think you should come back to towards light. But I don't think we should rely on it as much. I think too many people are using this cosmetically. I think people are using what they hear on TV to justify, hey, I'm going to lose weight. And I even have people come in to me and saying, hey, I'll pay you cash. I just need to get right for the summer. I'm like, ooh, no. Because of everything I just told you. If it's going to make you pee sugar, Well, now you got that sugar in your urine. If you pee it out, and depending on, your cleanliness, I guess, you can get urinary infections. The bugs, the
Ooh.
bacteria, the fungus, they're eating that sugar that you're now peeing out. Number one.
Okay.
Number two, if I'm not moving my gut as well, I can get constipated. Number
Yeah.
three, if I'm full and I'm not doing it and I'm peeing out sugar water and I get thirsty, I can get dehydrated. And that is actually where we see a lot of people with these drugs. They're getting dehydrated. They're not taking fluid in. And they're peeing out too much. And now they're in the hospital with kidney failure because they did it on their own. They ordered from some fly-by-night mail order drug and no regulation. And now we're dealing with kidney failure and other reasons they have to go in the hospital.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
That's really
So-
So it happens like blessings and it's curses.
But if it jump starts their diet, gets them on the right track, is that a positive? You call that a plus?
So it's good. So that was an opinion question, right?
No, that's not opinion. I'm asking a question. What you think, doctor? You've already.
So I was gonna say, in my opinion,
I mean, if it jump starts, some people just have a problem with diets. And if it gets them on, okay, maybe they will hear the message better, the message from you, the Mediterranean diet that you're saying.
Mr. Jamaican himself, sir.
You
remember?
Yeah, of course. I get paid for my memory, people. I get
that is crazy.
Yeah.
What's that?
You got a crazy memory.
Yeah, so I just wanted your opinion. If it'll jumpstart, if they'll listen to you more so, if they have some help in losing that weight, and then they get on that Mediterranean diet, do you feel that might help them in some kind of way?
Sure, excellent. So kind of loaded, I like that question. So I do use the drug in people who are morbidly obese. I do use it for medicinal reasons, right? If you have medical complication from obesity, meaning the hypertension, you have sleep apnea. Yeah, you have diabetes, obviously, cholesterol. If you have some medical thing that's associated with you being obese, then yes, I will try to get the obesity down. So in those situations, yes, I do use the medicine. I do use it, as you're saying, to kickstart things. So I don't anticipate anyone on my medicines indefinitely.
Yeah.
Sure.
I do have to watch it. And yes, I will use it like that. But this is where if you do lose a lot of the weight on the drug and you stop it, say, even up to a year later, you will gain back most of that weight.
Okay.
If you don't do the other things, you have to change the lifestyle, you have to change the diet, you have to get more active. But this is my thing is that stuff for you to get active and lifestyle and stuff, you got to have that brand and mentality. You got to say, no, you don't have to change any skin tight clothes and spend 20 years getting to the gym and 5 years lift. You don't have to do that if that's not your style. But you have to have that mentality of like, this is who I am now. I'm not the Twinkie eating, couch potato housewives of real any city in America watching person anymore. I'm that kid that I used to be going outside playing kickball. I'm going to walk to get me a glass of water, not pack up a whole, you know what I'm saying? You have to get that activity back. And a lot of us got lazy when we moved away from that. So one, if you don't get your mentality right, none of this will work. You will gain the weight back. Your body will get used to those GLP-1 drugs. You're going to stop losing for a while. And you're going to say, oh, I hit a plateau. Yeah, you hit a plateau because of a lifestyle. So the only way this stuff works to GLP, and this is actually the recommendation, from all these societies, the only way the GLP-1 is going to work is you have to combine it with the appropriate exercise. American Heart Association suggests 150 minutes a week of cardiovascular. 2 of those days should be resistance training at least. And this is the minimum. You have to have cognitive behavioral therapy and or counseling. That has to be a mental change for this to work.
Okay.
The final part is the diet, like you're saying, and it doesn't have to be Mediterranean. Mediterranean helps from a coronary perspective, cleaning out the arteries and stuff. That doesn't necessarily make you lose weight. Some people follow what I like is Eat to Live. This doctor out of North Carolina, Greg Furman. He wrote a whole book about it, Eat to Live instead of Live to Eat. Get it? And I used to do that for my patients who came in, and I would just make them lose. I tell, listen, if you follow exactly what I'm going to say, no drugs or anything, just eat the way I'm going to tell you. I'll make you lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks because that's what's in the book. And it worked almost invariably. I did it myself. I lost 30 pounds in 6 weeks, but I kind of cheated, right? Because I did all this exercise and I'm a scientist. You know what to do.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, 20 pounds in 6 weeks is kind of what I had them do. So it's not the diet, a particular one. To your point, Mama Rush, it's not, hey, I'm going to get on Mediterranean or I'm going to get on this, protein, old, ancient, archaic, none of that kind of stuff. You get on a diet where you change your mentality and your lifestyle to recognize that I eat what I need, to function. If I eat more than that, it's going to get stored. If I eat less than that, I'm fine, but I have to eat what I need to function. And so you can think of diet in terms of energy. Some people call it calories. I call it energy. How much energy do you need to sit at a desk and work all day? You don't. And then if you are going to eat the energy, where should you get it from? Should I get it from a candy bar or, I don't know. So the thought process is the biggest thing. And then I try to wean people off of the GLP-1, preferably within a year, and let them fly.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, so tell me that DASH diet, what does that stand for again? That DASH diet.
So that's best for people with high blood pressure. And it works almost everyone. So it stands for the Dietary Approach towards stopping hypertension.
Okay.
Yep. You can Google it. It'll come up with a bunch of, you can actually get recipes online. You just DASH diet recipes and it'll come up with a whole bunch.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Dr. Smith, I wanted to say that you're so right about the mentality on that because I was an obese kid and I was really obese. I'm not the guy. My oldest brother came on, Travis Hales came on a couple days ago. He's like, Brent, I remember when you were this chubby kid, not like you're all built and everything now. And it's because that mentality, like my father didn't let me quit when I was ready to quit football after the first week because I was being lazy. But my father wouldn't allow me to quit. I wanted to quit, thought I could go to my grandma. He's like, no, I'm not letting you quit, which I'm so glad that he did that because that's why I've been able to accomplish what I have in my lifetime, why I have a no quit. Anyone that knows my dude, Brandon's like the last. If you're going to bet against anyone, don't bet against him because he'll go until he dies. He won't quit. But with that being said, having that mentality from football, because my dad didn't allow me to quit, I had torn my quad muscle and I had to push through it and went through all that pain. I had that mentality now to where I'm able to push myself to a level I think that only certain people push themselves to, but I'm able to. I remember how that fat kid looked back in the day, and I did put on some weight while being at home and getting lazy. And I was like, "Yo, don't even call me Rush anymore." I'm the artist formerly known as Rush. Like I was embarrassed. I'm dead serious. Yeah. I was going into a hotel and I'm like, Mom, don't tell anybody that I act. Just don't tell anybody right now because I wasn't looking myself. I was just like, I'm the artist formerly known as Rush. But I got it back together.
Brad, when you said that, I had to laugh. I'm the artist formerly known as Rush.
Yeah.
Because he gained so much weight.
Yeah, I gained so much weight because I was off of, I said I went through, I only eat, I had the Mediterranean diet, basically what is what I do in California. Or not in New York because I love the pizza up there, but in California, it's actually, I take that back. I eat lettuce and it's just lettuce and chicken. That's all I eat. I stick to that. That's just me personally. I'm not saying everybody else has to do that, but I have always, because I was always that big kid and I saw it happen when I gained all this weight back. I'm like, we can't have that happen. And so, but that mentality that you mentioned, the fact that it has to be up here and you have to realize, hey, I don't want to get back to that, how it was before. So I was just agreeing with what you said.
And you got to have that strength. Sometimes people put things in front of you and, after a while you're like, I'm not as hungry for this. I'd rather have some. So for me, like, I know if I get something sweet, I just feel greasy and sloppy and sugary and stuff like that. Mama Rush, do you have pictures of him when he was younger, when he was fat? And how did he get that fat?
I will have him send those.
How'd you let him do that?
We don't want to shock the girls out there.
If you ask any girl,
you should.
He has a
ask
girl.
any of them, they won't believe it.
I don't know if you've seen us. Some of the girls have been on here talking, nurses and everything, been out here talking with him. So let's not shock them. But certainly I do have pictures. And and we would go buy husky clothes for him. But when he got in high school, we had husky pants and all drawstring pants, no pants with a waist.
I did the same thing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it was okay. It was okay because his father knew he had them playing soccer, basketball, baseball, football.
Yeah.
His dad had them running and everything. So we knew eventually he would get past that.
Yeah. But how did it? Were you just eating a lot or?
I was eating, man. I remember I'd always call my mom at work and be like, hey, Mom, what's for dinner? Even though it was the same, like,
and
5
I felt
things
sorry when I said I'm at work and I don't have time to talk about what's for dinner.
I was eating all the junk food and stuff like that, candy bars and all that stuff. But when I started playing football, I was losing 10 pounds a day. Actually, before we had 2 days, I would lose 10 pounds before we even hit 12 o'clock. So we started at 7. By 12 o'clock, I'd always weigh myself. I'd lose 10 pounds by, I would have lost 10 pounds by 12 o'clock. And then all the weight shed off. So I went from being obese to being super skinny. Then I told you I had really great genetics. So like my dad looked like Apollo Creed is the best way I can explain it to you.
Wow. Cool.
So because he had that, I'm blessed with those genetics too. And the muscle part for me is very easy to get. And I'm unnaturally strong.
It's muscle memory. I think that muscle in your body comes right back once you get back on track.
Yes, ma'am, that too. But I'm saying I was born with a certain strength genetic that I know that for a fact because my brother says that, Brandon, when you were a little dude, you had shoulders and jack it. So it's just a matter of like, so good genetics, and yes, muscle memory, mom, that is a part too. But
I hear that. Y'all lucky because Mama Rush, I did the same. So my mother, when I was in 3rd grade, I was wearing size 38 Husky. You can imagine a little 3rd grade kid. My mother was a seamstress also, and as in addition to everything else she did. So she used to cut the legs and roll them up and stuff. And even with 38 Husky, I still ripped them when I was trying to run around at recess. It was kind of embarrassing. And, you try to talk to the girls and they, you fat. You know how kids don't really care and stuff like that. It's tough. But then I got into martial arts and basketball and all that shit. So the other thing was because my father used to say, I didn't have the support. I think, Brandon, like you did with your dad, my father used to think that if he shoves food in my mouth, I'll grow up taller and stronger. I'm 5'8", 175. I didn't end up, I was very strong, still I'm very strong, but I didn't really get that much taller, like he said. And then my mother, after working hard at work, came home to cook food for her family. And I was one of those families like, look, if I made this food, you're going to eat it. Right? Absolutely. So I get my breakfast, my lunch. I'd come home. My father. You
broke up a little bit, doctor.
Thing, and I had this hamburger French toast. So my father would get that, and I ate a lot, sat around a lot. But here's the thing, though. So have you noticed this, though, Brandon? After you work out, sorry, can you hear me okay now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Is that better? Back on. So Brandon, let me ask you this. So hold on, let me shut this. Maybe it's because the phone was calling it. All right. So Brandon, have you noticed this? After you worked out for a bit, like say for a roll or you got something going on and you're like buff and your metabolism is back up, have you noticed that when you can eat the same thing and it just melts right off compared to
absolutely, it burns. My metabolism
eat as much as you want.
Yeah.
And so that's what I get all my patients do on the GLP-1s. I get them to build muscle. And I hate when they go to the gym talking about, I'm going to lift weight. Yeah, these little tiny little bites. So what? You got to build the core. You got to get the booty muscles. You got to get the thighs because those are bigger muscles that are burning all the time. So I get them to build those up. And they're after a while, they're like, hey, you know what? I can go out and eat and I ain't getting that much weight. That's half of it. The other half is that they recognize they weren't eating the volume that they used to eat before. Absolutely. And because they know this and they have the mentality to stay there rather than falling back, good to go.
You're right, Doc. You're right. That you're absolutely right. And what you're doing is working. And I'm glad that you had them on that workout regimen too, or the fact that you had to build that. Sorry, Mom, I hear you about to say something.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Smith, I am so happy that you are on the speaking circuit for different universities and firms. I appreciate so much because you have imparted so much wisdom, so much knowledge today. And so with that, I don't want to overuse your time because I know it's valuable of trying to help and heal people out there.
Thank you.
So with that said,
we'll have you back, Doctor. We'll have you back in a couple of weeks. We have a couple more people. We've had a busy day. We've had 4 guests. You're the 3rd guest. We have the 4th one coming
up. The 3rd guest, and we have one coming on here shortly. So
but that's Doc, I appreciate you so much for your time today. We'll definitely have you back on in a couple of weeks.
But Dr. Smith, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Seriously.
Anything you want to ask us, Dr. Smith, before you leave?
Well, I want to ask a lot of questions, but I think the biggest one is, how did you get to 3 million? You know what? I'll tell
you, it's really fast. Because I've been blessed to be in 77 TV shows and movies. Several of the shows I've been on, Mayor of Kingstown, Ozark, Criminal Minds, Blue Bloods, and Power. Each of those shows got 4 million views when 4 million views the episode I was in. So this number is actually small for me because I'm used to getting 4 million on an episode around the world. And I have people from all around the world sending me my episodes in a different language. Brazil, I've had people send it to me in German. So from having that because people are now putting together, oh my God, this is an actor that's been in 77 TV shows and movies. They're putting 2 and 2 together that I'm that person. And now everybody's loved the people that we've had on, including yourself. So it's really, and I already had a social media presence, but I just managed to really capitalize on that. And now it's working out very well. So I believe that we'll probably be a lot higher than that.
I'm definitely a fan. And Mama Rush, we also got to talk about when you and I can go on a talking tour. Because it sounds like you have a whole lot to teach yourself.
I got to get back on the circuit. And I used to do that several times in churches, actually. I'd go and talk about different things in churches. So we will definitely do that. And so sorry, just saw the picture today, but that goes up when hair is washed and I don't feel like putting on makeup.
Got it.
Dr. Smith, thank you so much.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Clapping,
we'll catch up.
What do we do in the end, Brandon?
Yeah, we always clap, Dr. Smith.
All righty.
You've been phenomenal today.
I give another one for you guys. Thank you. Thanks for bringing me on, guys.
Hey, and give your wife Queen and your kids my best as well.
His memory is killing me, but how do you do this? I definitely would. Hey, you know what? I do have a question.
Yes,
what do we have to do to get you guys to come down to one of our basketball games? We're gonna have to do that.
It doesn't take much. I'm up for it whenever. Just let us know schedules and we'll make it happen.
Absolutely would. HBCU basketball needs a lot of support and we can do it. So excellent. Thanks guys for having me on. I'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Take care, Dr. Smith.
Rest of your week. Bye-bye. Oh, tell your mama, is your mother still alive?
Unfortunately not.
How about your wife? Well, tell your wife Happy Mother's Day. Isn't it Sunday
that is coming up, huh?
Daddy, don't forget. I think it's Sunday coming up, Mother's Day.
All right. I hope this doesn't get out to her, but here's my thing. I told the kids, well, that's your mother, not mine. I'm like, you know what I'm saying?
I hear you. All right, Dr. Smith.
Okay, take care. Now.
All right, I'll see you guys.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. So wonderful.
Yes,